These are the worst ab exercises for low back pain, while these are what you should be doing instead. I'm going to tell you what these are, I'm going to tell you why you should be doing them, and I'm going to do it right now. What's up, guys? Hey, Jared Beckstrand here, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Untitled.com. Now, I think for the most part, most of us understand the importance of having a strong core in order to decrease episodes of low back pain. Honestly, nothing could be truer. It's something that I support all the time. In fact, the majority of my patients that come in to see me in my physical therapy clinic for low back pain would never even need to be patients in my clinic in the first place if they just took part in some regular core strengthening. Now, that being said, not all core exercises are created equally. You might be doing some core exercises which you think are beneficial that are actually doing more damage than good. And that's my purpose of today's video. I wanted to discuss with you 3 popular ab and core exercises that you might be doing to try to help your lower back pain that are actually causing more damage than good. I'll explain what those are, and I want to give you some healthier alternatives of what you can be doing instead that are going to be more beneficial, that are going to help you with your low back pain. Let's jump into those right now. Exercise number 1 on my list is one of the most common ab exercises out there. Unfortunately, it's also one of the worst for your lower back. Let's talk about sit-ups. Now, to perform a sit-up, you lay down flat on your back, and then you have to curl the entire resistance of your body up and against gravity, meaning we're introducing a ton of trunk flexion. Our lower back is actually rounding forward, and we're doing it against gravity. Now, 2 things with this. I don't like that we're introducing a ton of motion in the spine, but then also I don't like the spine position on this one. Let me tell you why. As our trunk rounds forward to perform the sit-up, and as we do that against gravity, it causes a ton of external pressure on the front of our discs. Now, what that does is puts a ton of internal pressure on the back of our discs. Now, if you have any type of disc pain, or if that lower back pain is coming from your discs, any activity that puts increased pressure in that area, we definitely want to avoid. It's for those reasons that we probably want to avoid sit-ups with lower back pain. Now, what should we do instead? How about a plank? A plank is a great exercise because it keeps your spine in a nice neutral position. We're working on spine stabilization instead of spine flexion like we would with the sit-up. It still engages a ton of those same muscles, but it actually allows us the opportunity to focus on our deepest core muscle. While we're holding the plank, try to draw your belly button up and towards your spine. That's going to activate your deepest core layer, actually working on those spine stabilizers a lot more. This exercise is not performed over a wide range of motion, and it's not performed flexing against gravity, therefore making it a much better option for your lower back pain. Now you may say, all right, Jared, what if we eliminate that aggressive spine flexion with the sit-ups and replace it with more of an isometric hold with some rotation, i.e. Russian twists? We sit in this semi-reclined motion, and then we're working on our obliques. We're working on our rotators while we're doing that exercise. To which I reply, that is the absolute worst thing that you can be doing. If sit-ups were bad, Russian twists are even worse. Let me explain why. We're in this semi-reclined position. That means we are still resisting that flexion motion. There's still a lot of pressure being pushed towards the back and onto our discs, and especially our posterior discs. Now we're going to introduce this rotation motion on top of that resisted flexion, which actually only increases pressure in the disc even more. We definitely want to avoid these Russian twists. Well, okay, so what's the healthy option instead? Well, I'd say, what if instead of introducing this large amount of rotation, what if we tried to resist that rotation and made it more of a stabilization exercise? Here come your cable walkouts. These can also be done with a band as well. What you're going to do is grab a cable with both hands in front of you and secure it nice and strong with your arms. Activate your core muscles, keep your core nice and tight, keep your belly button sucked in, your deeper core activated, and then all you have to do is take a couple of steps away from the machine, keeping those hands straight out in front of you, and then take a couple of steps back. Again, this can also be performed with a band in a very similar fashion. What are we doing with this exercise? We're actually resisting that rotation motion. Our obliques, both external and internal, are active with this exercise, but we're in an upright posture, so we've decreased the pressure on the disc, and we're not introducing a ton of rotation into it, thereby decreasing the pressure on our lower back even more. Now, the key here is to maintain stabilization. Your lower back likes to stabilize, and that's actually the entire mission when I treat it in physical therapy. We need to increase the stabilization strength of those muscles. This is a great exercise to help us to accomplish that. Instead of doing those Russian twists, try to do some of these cable walkouts instead. Now, exercise number 3 is a little bit of a tricky one. You might say, okay, Jared, I hear what you're saying. I don't want to introduce a ton of flexion. I want to work on my stabilizers. What I'm going to do is lay down flat on my back and work my lower abs instead. Now, lower ab work, like a double straight leg raise or a reverse crunch, are exercises that I actually really like. However, we need to work up into those for our lower back pain. Let me explain what I mean. For the majority of us, our hip flexors are a lot stronger than our lower abs. And when we do those lower ab exercises, either our hip flexors dominate the whole motion, or when our abs fatigue, our hip flexors take over. Now, this is defeating the whole purpose of those ab exercises, as our hip flexors are typically strong and tight anyway. We need to loosen them up and we need to strengthen our lower abs instead. So that being said, what if we took a step back? What if we checked our ego at the door? And what if we focused a lot more on form with an easier lower back exercise than we did on simply cranking out the reps with a more difficult lower ab exercise? Ab exercise number 3 on my list that you need to be doing for your lower back pain is a posterior pelvic tilt with an abdominal brace. To perform this exercise, what I want you to do is lay down on your back with your knees bent. Now, your first move here is to posteriorly rotate your pelvis. That means what I want you to do is focus on lifting the front of your pelvis up towards your chest and tuck your lower back down towards the floor. Now, in this position, we want to activate that deepest core stabilizer, that transverse abdominis muscle. You can do this by simply drawing your belly button in towards your spine. That TA is the suck it in muscle. That is how you activate it. Now, the exercise comes as I want you to hold and maintain this position while we go through some simple leg exercises. We can start with a march, so you hold that ab position and simply introduce left march, right march, left march, right march, but then you can take that even a step further by introducing a single leg raise to it. Again, it's not the leg motion that I'm after with this exercise. I could honestly care how many times you can lift that leg up and down. What I care about is the proper position of your lower back and the proper activation of those lower back and core muscles. We want that deepest core muscle strong and active in order to hold your lower back flat to the ground, keep your belly button sucked in nice and strong while performing those leg raises. That's the exercise. Focus on your abs, not the motion at your hips, and this exercise suddenly becomes a lot more effective. Remember, guys, when we talk about low back pain and when we talk about core exercises, not all core exercises are going to be good for your lower back pain. You need to do the right things the right way in order to see the improvement that you're after. You guys, I hope that this video helped you out. I hope that you feel better because some of the things that I shared with you in this video. If you haven't subscribed to Tone and Tighten yet, do it at this circle right here. If you're interested in more back exercises and more back rehab advice, click on these 2 videos right here. Hopefully that helps you guys out. We'll see you next time.